Okay, just video number 3 here. Where I just left off, you remember I forgot to set the gravity scale to 0 for my hoop, so make sure you just go back and do that. We just did a trial run and the ball was dropping, although very slow. We're going to reset that velocity later on. And then notice though, too, another thing that you can set while we're over in that hoop, you could maybe make the mass something. Now, we're going to have this to be a trigger, the hoop be a trigger. And I believe we already set that. But if it was not set a trigger, things would collide into it and would bounce off. Just understand that. Now, let's just try and replay this again now that I've set the gravity scale to 0. And you can see now it's just the ball that's moving. Now let's see what happens when the ball gets to the bottom here, just out of curiosity. It does stop, and so it hits our floor there. If we hadn't put in that floor, that collider, okay, it wouldn't stop there, and so that's just something to take note of. Now we're back to working with the ball, so let's click back to the ball. And upping this gravity scale here is not going to do actually a whole bunch for us. One thing it could do, what the 1 basically means, it's a value from 0 to 1. It's going to be the rebound. So if I would have let that play on, that ball would have bounced right back up to where it was. If I put it to half, it would have bounced halfway up. So you can kind of get that basic idea there. If I have a value, I have to go in and set a different value if I want that to be kind of crazy and bounce through the roof. But we're just going to set the velocity later, not worry about that. So the next thing we do want to add to our ball, though, we've already added a rigid body. And we're just going to leave the gravity scale at 1, mass at 1. And we've added this collider here, but down here there's this physics material. We're going to add something for that right now. So we need to create a new folder to do that, though. So we have fonts, scenes, scripts, sprites. We're going to create a new folder. So right click, create folder, and we're just going to call this folder physics materials, because I guess there's some different types of materials as well. But that's just going to tell us that's where we're going to save our physics stuff. Now this is a little different to create a physics material. Where you're going to go is you're going to go to assets, you go to create, and you're going to go down to physics 2D material. We're working with 2D element or game, so let's just click on that. You can see it adds this down here. Now this is the ball, so let's add in ball. And so we have now this physics element here. Now if you take a look in the inspector at the properties of this, by default the bounciness is set to 0, which is the effect we already had where it just stopped when it hit the bottom. We're going to set the bounciness to 1. Sorry, gravity, I may have misled you on the gravity. Bounciness is 1, means it's going to rebound that high. And we want no friction at all. Okay, and so you can see that by default Unity has some properties set there for us. So we're going to go save scene. Now one thing we need to link this to our ball. So to do that, we actually click on the ball. We have this open in the assets down at the bottom. Now don't try and, I tried to drag it in here to this material here before. It's not an image material. This is a physics material, so it links to here. I think the green and blue coloration kind of tip you off there. So this is looking for a physics material, and we have physics material here. And so you're going to click and drag that over and drop that in there. Now that ball is there. So let's take a look at that effect now. File, save scene, and let's just go. Let's see what happens with our ball now. It should bounce for us. That's what I'm hoping. Now I still have that velocity set really slow, but we have now the bouncing effect. So that's a start. And that's all we need to probably see with that for now. It's not too exciting. So let's move from there. So now, why don't we add the next object? An object that we're actually going to... actually, we do have some ball scripts. So we got everything added here except for the script. Let's add the script. So let's add in here, new script. And let's call that script ball. And create an add. And you can see that ball script would be in the assets to start. And again, we want to drag that into scripts so we have everything nice and organized. Unity will follow our links there. It knows when we're putting stuff in there, where that's going. So let's open up ball. Now, like I said, I'm going to copy and paste some text in here for ball. And let's see what we had to have happening in ball. So, pretty simple. The only thing I had going on here was really, we were going to get this ball moving, because it was moving pretty slow. And then we're going to handle the rest of the events with the hoop and with the bad guys and whatever. So, on start, we're going to just set the velocity, and velocity is a vector 2. You don't need to know too much more about that for right now. You can see it float X, float Y. So it's got 6 and 200. Just with experimentation, I found that worked pretty well. So basically this rigid body 2D velocity, which is the ball, it's referring to this, equal new vector, and then it sets that. And so we can just save that. And let's see what effect we have. Now we should have the ball moving a bit. Start. There we go. Now we got a decent velocity happening now with that ball. Okay, good enough. So let's move on from the ball. Continuing on. Next game object we're going to add again is going to be a UI. It's going to be an image. And we are going to add in, now we need the hand that's going to knock that ball around. So let's go to that. Let's go back to our sprites. And that funky looking hand that I built in about 2 minutes in Fireworks is right there. And so we're going to drag that and drop it where it's looking for a sprite there. So we have a hand there. I'm going to rename that right away, hand. Hit enter. Notice this is all within our canvas, so that's good. Right where we can work with it. And I'm going to resize my hand. I'm not sure what size I want my hand to be yet. Let's move that down. Scroll up. I'm going to start my hand at the bottom. That's kind of how I had it diagrammed anyway. So, sure, hand's there. So if it comes down, it's going to hit my hand if I'm sleeping on the job for a second there. Let's make our hand. Oh man, we don't need to be very big. Let's go 45. No, 45 still looks a little bit big. Let's go 40. 40 by 40. And I do want it as square as possible. Funny thing about that, it's a square object, but I'm going to put in a sphere collider within that. So first thing that we're going to add though, we're going to come down here and we're going to add another component. Now I said something about a kinematic before. Now that's going to be, I'm going to add in a physics 2D rigid body, and this is where I need to actually understand that kinematic part. Is right here. I need to click this. Kinematic means that the user is going to move this object, and so I want to select that kinematic. And then the other component I want to add there again is physics 2D, but this time I'm going to do circle collider. Even though it's a square object, I think I can make that work best. So I'm going to grab that, and I'm going to go is trigger. I'm going to leave that unchecked because I want it to collide. Same with the basketball. I left it unchecked because I want it to collide and move and exert physics. So from there, I want to grab my radius on this circle collider, and I want to bring that up. Now, I'm going to zoom in so you can see this a little bit better on the video. Now, you can see I'm expanding that radius circle there just by dragging. I want it just to be around the fingertips. I purposely made that hand so the fingertips kind of would almost form a circle. Not perfect, but not bad. So you can see that's how I want my hand to contact things. It's with a circle, not the square. So from there, I'm just going to save project. Make sure everything's going to save scene, I guess. But I am going to actually add a few things. I need a physics. So I do want a physics object. I want it to also rebound off my hand hard. So we're going to go to my physics matter again, right click, or sorry, not right click, go up to assets, create physics 2D material, and I want to create a hand physics material. I'm going to again change my friction to 0, my bounciness to 1. I want it to rebound hard off my hand, and then I need to link that to my hand. So make sure you're not trying to, I kept on trying to link to this material here. That's wrong. I need to click this circle collider 2D and grab that, drag it across, drop it in there. Now I have that link there. So that's good. But now I need my hand to be able to do something. So I need to follow my mouse movement. And so we're going to add that in here right away with the script. Is trigger? No, we're going to leave that for now. Add component, and we're going to go new script. We're going to call it creative hand, and then C#, create and add. And then I can go up to my assets. Just keep things organized here. As soon as it lets me. And let's move that hand script into scripts. Go inside there. Slowly but surely. And open up Mono Develop. Now again, I'm going to copy and paste in the code, and then I'm going to read through what the heck it means to you. So we have level manager, music player, hoop, ball, hand. Okay, so just inside of the update method, it looks like is all we need to do some stuff to. So simple stuff. We're going to follow the mouse movement. So let's go to Mono Develop. And inside of here, I'm just going to paste this code. So what we needed to get, we need to get a vector 3 x, y, z of the hand position. Okay, and then we declare what we're doing in here is we're declaring a float mouse position x. Okay, that's just a variable, but we're going to store in that variable the mouse position x every time this updates, every frame. Okay, we're going to do the same thing here with this mouse position y input mouse position y. So we're going to need a float that stores mouse position y every time the frame updates. This vector hand position we're just going to need to pass in here. Now it says here hand position, which we declared up here, x equals mathf dot clamp, and then mouse position x, which we got from here in here. Now the only thing you really need to concern yourself with is we're adjusting the x and y position of our hand based on where the mouse is moving. This mathf clamp, what that does is it's setting a boundary for us. Now I probably need to adjust this boundary. We're going to see. I think my screen size is only 400, so I'm going to set this to 390 as my x, and I'm going to set this to, this is just going to not allow my mouse to go any further than that. If it's 300, I'm going to go 290. It's not best to hard code that like that, but just so that my mouse can't go out of the bounds there. And then it's going to, this transform, this is going to be the hand. Okay, it's going to move to hand position, which we've set our x and y hand position to where the mouse input was. So fairly simple code there, but like I said, save some time by not typing it in, as I've done this before. You should only have to type the same code once. Anyways, let's go back to Unity and see how that runs. Scroll out here quickly, see what our setup is, and let's go here. Play. Did I do any physics to my hand? Doesn't look like it's not bouncing. Notice how my hand's just kind of pushing that around. That means that I didn't connect my physics there. So I added physics, but I didn't connect it. But at least I can move things around with my hand there. I'll show you what I mean by that. Notice that it didn't let me go out of the screen. What I'm going to do is, what I forgot to do, go to the hand. And notice that if I go down here, oh, I do have the hand physics in there. Oh, I need to maybe, I'm not sure why that didn't click in. Let me just see what I have for the physics there. My hand, bounciness is 1. Ball bounciness is 1. Friction 0. Let me just play that again. I'm just a little bit confused as to why that isn't rebounding off my hand a little bit for her. Well, it seems to be rebounding okay. Once I get a bad guy in, I guess it'll be better. Maybe I didn't save, I'm not sure. Notice that it's not handling that hoop collision yet. I must not have put in hoop script yet, because it should be when I collide on the top there, it should go to the level manager. So I need to do some adjusting. Let's just go back and see why that's not ending. Okay, so anyways, we have some progress there. Now within hoop, Let's go back here and see how that script is going here. I have this set to is target. I have a hoop script, but